How many have heard of the war on drugs? Raise your hand. Right, look around the room, everybody's hand is up. Everybody's heard of the war on drugs, right? Now, keep your hand up if you think we're winning the war on drugs. Take a look around the room. There's not a single hand that's up anymore. And even my hand's down. And that's what I do every day, 5 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week, is fight in the front lines on the war on drugs, and we're losing.
Started at a party, everyone was there. She had a couple pills on a little dare, but now she's missing class and she's dropping her pom-poms. Nobody knows where she is, not even her mom. Everybody thought she was the all-American girl. So there goes the books, it's all about the score. There goes the doggy, life is such a bore. There goes the family, she's got a new friend. There goes the looks, this is the end. I guess she really was the all-American girl.
1 out of 10 high schoolers reported using prescription drugs without a prescription at least once.
I think it was too big of a deal because everybody's doing it. And when everybody started using prescription drugs, I figured that wasn't a big deal because doctors give them out, everyone's doing it, it wouldn't be too much of a thing. I didn't think of the long-term effects that they were gonna have on me.
54% of prescription drug users get them from a friend or family for free.
It's physical torture, it's mental torture. You're literally coming undone at the seams. You're crawling out of your skin. I mean, it's basically like you're living in hell. Back then, Oxycontin didn't have the same ring as heroin, nor do we have the knowledge that, that little pill was going to lead me down a path of self-destruction. When we first started doing it, we were doing it on the weekends. We were doing it at parties. And slowly but surely, everything started centering around getting that pill every day, Monday through Sunday, a couple pills a day. And that went on for a long time. When you're high, like your body is, everything feels normal, everything feels like, it's exactly how it's supposed to be. You remove that drug and that chemical from your system, your body just unravels. Anxiety kicks in when you don't have any money, when you don't have any source, when your dealers run out, you start going through these chaotic thoughts. You're just drenched in sweat. It's like all your bodily fluids are coming out of your body. Your stomach is twisted in knots. A lot of people end up puking. I wasn't really a puker when I was sick. I was more the person that, violent diarrhea, pissing out your ass. Your bones ache. They say flu-like symptoms. It's pure agony. I remember, I was dope sick off oxys, curled up like a baby, and I couldn't afford another pill. And, somebody brought a bag of heroin to me. And at that point, it didn't matter what it was. I was so sick, I just didn't want to be sick.
Almost 50% of teens believe that prescription drugs are much safer than illegal street drugs.
It had already been a rough first day for Jason. He walked into recovery after a drug binge.
All right, I'll see you there in like 5 minutes.
He allowed our cameras to follow him the day before as he roamed the streets of Boston in search of drug money and heroin.
Oh yeah, don't answer your phone, you dumb.
That morning, he crushed and snorted pills from a toilet seat in City Hall. He met friends to shoot up in the middle of the day.
I just did some heroin and I was sick, and I just did a shot and I'm very, very high.
And then, that night, we watched him inject more heroin laced with a powerful drug, fentanyl, not once, but twice.
Overdoses killed more Americans than car crashes or guns.
Step in here for real quick.
I had a great life. I had a great job, great family. I was engaged when I wasn't using. And then these past 2.5, 3 years just been the worst. I've lost everything in life. These marks here are all old. You see all these little marks right here on my hand. I mean, you can't see any veins in my arms or hands. See, these marks, all these right here, these are all old. All these ones are all new. All the way up here, on this leg, down this leg here, all my whole legs, everything. Those are the new ones. It's pretty bad addiction. I don't even get high anymore. I just do it so I can feel normal. I'm starting to get withdrawals, and it's starting to take effect now since I haven't used in almost 12 hours. You start getting cold, hot. Start sneezing a lot, nose starts running, vomiting. You can't get comfortable. Imagine being physically sick with the flu, just where you don't want to move. Your bones ache, your body aches, your stomach hurts. You just feel like throwing up. You just drained of everything physically. And that's what I'm gonna start going through. I'm scared, and let's be honest.
The U.S. makes up 5% of the world's population but consumes 75% of the world's prescription drugs.
In my addiction, I had been to rehab 17 times, and I'd been to jail 6 or 7 times. So every time I went to jail, I got out, went to rehab, came home and relapsed, and then did it all over again.
You overdosed as well?
Mm-hmm.
How many times?
I only overdosed once, and I woke up in an ambulance.
Mike DeWine is Ohio's Attorney General. He showed Bill Whitaker how heroin is gripping his state from rural towns to wealthy suburbs. Welcome.
Thank you.
You call this an epidemic.
It's the worst epidemic I've ever seen. I've been involved in law enforcement since the 1970s, and it's so pervasive. It's in every part of Ohio. You know, we used to think of drug epidemics centering on cities. Not true at all. The drug dealers are going where the money is, and that's the suburbs, and they're also in the rural areas.
And what's the lure? I mean, in other words, why are so many people doing this? Because heroin is a scary drug.
It's a scary drug. I don't really know. What I can tell you is when I was a county prosecuting attorney in the 1970s, heroin was something that most people who were doing drugs wouldn't touch.
Yeah, exactly.
I would talk to them, and you know, relatively small county, you got to know people, and you got to even know the drug dealers because we would arrest them. And you talk to them and say, hey, what do you do? And they'd, you know, list a whole bunch of crazy stuff that they were doing. Mm-hmm. But I'd say, what about heroin? Yeah. Hey, I'm not crazy to wine. That's what crazy people are.
Even the drug dealers are saying, I don't want to touch that.
I don't want to touch that. I won't do it. I wouldn't put that in my needle in my
You've also
arm.
said, Mike, that you cannot arrest your way out of this problem. What do you mean? And what should you do?
Well, you know, the drug cartels are doing a great job in marketing this. But I think most people in law enforcement today understand and tell me, and I totally agree with them, we can't arrest our way out of the problem. That we want to do what we do in law enforcement. We think in Ohio we do a pretty good job. Attorney General, we try to help local law enforcement. But really, we need to focus a lot more on prevention, and we need to focus on treatment.
I'm Nancy Schaumburg. I am the SAY Coalition Coordinator of Bellefaire JCB, and I run the SAY Student Leadership Council. And one thing that I do know about the opiate epidemic is that if you cut off the demand, you'll cut off the supply. And we need all the youth that we can get to help with this epidemic that is killing thousands of people, not only in our counties, in our communities, in our state, in the country.